was in the early half today as a boy came out in the early half today to release a video tape. This tape was released few hours ago and this tape scattered the whole Nigeria. It made everywhere to burst in the early half today as the boy unveiled everything and how his father worked with Tinubu when he was young, what they discussed together and what they do together. This boy have finally exposed everything. So I'm going to play you the tape he released few hours ago. You will see everything yourself. He even exposed how his father and Tinubu kills together and all of that. You will hear everything in this video. So I would like us to stay connected to the end of this video. Everywhere shaking the early after today. If you can share this video, ensure you share to different social media platforms. Let it go viral. And if you can share, just like it as a watching, like it, give it a thumb up. So that to be recommended for us. But then stay connected. I'll call you back again.
Welcome you back to LAJUPOG TV.
I don't have bad news for you today.
The home of religious gossip.
But you should leave the fight for Mohammed.
What is happening in the Christendom? Join now to make sense with LAJUPOG.
Hello my great and wonderful viewers, welcome back to LAJUPOG TV. For those of you coming across this channel for the very first time, ensure you click the registration button appearing in your video screen and do well to click the notification bell icon so that whenever we drop a new video, YouTube will easily let you to know in few hours time. A lot is happening in the political space right now. Few hours ago, a video tape was released by a boy. You know, this boy released this tape and it shaked everywhere. No one is expecting this video to come out even at now because nobody believes the atrocity that was committed. This boy released this tape amidst how his father worked with Tinubu when he was young. He said when he was young, his father worked with Tinubu. He unveiled what they used to interact together, their communication, what they said together. He unveiled everything because he made us know that he used to eavesdrop and all of that on their conversation. And as if that is not enough, he unveiled how Tinubu used to pie people and all of that. He unveiled everything by himself. So I would like us to stay connected to the end of this video. You will see the tape that he released few hours ago. You watch everything yourself. You should not be like I said, I'm the one that is saying everything. So if you can share this video, ensure you share to different social media platforms. Let it go viral. And if you can share it, just like it as you're watching it, like it, give it a thumb up so that YouTube will recommend it for us. You know, I missed everything that is happening in Nigeria. You know, I missed all the electoral malpractices that took place on the 25th of February 2023 and all of that, how Tinubu got into power, and I missed how people weren't okay with the present situation of Nigeria. You know, everything was stated in this video. The boy narrated everything A to Z, how Tinubu got into power and how Tinubu manipulated things and how Tinubu did everything, how his father worked with Tinubu. You know, whatever you do in the presence of a child, whether you like it or not, if you're an adult, whatever you do in the presence of a child, the child will easily see everything and their brain is so sharp that it can code everything out and they won't forget it as they grow old. And the way they are growing old, they are using it as part of their orientation. So whatever you're doing in presence of a child really matters now. So this boy claimed that his father worked with Tinubu and they worked together. They worked on the political field, and according to him, he heard his father's conversation with Tinubu many times when he was young. You know, he was a child then. He heard everything and he unveiled everything in this very video. He released a tape. He even accused Tinubu of killing, and you know, he said for Tinubu to get into political space, there are a lot of people that they kill, and this boy unveiled everything in this video. This is not my own personal opinion. How Tinubu used to commit the atrocities and not side with his father, and they all know about this, and how they used to eliminate people before they get into power and all of that, and the things they did. This boy unveiled everything. So you hear everything in this video. This is not my own personal opinion. You will hear him saying it. He's now a grown-up guy now, and now he think he can now voice that and say everything. Now that is why he came a few years ago to release this tape out for all Nigerians to see what really transpired and who Tinubu is and all of that. This is not a defamatory video. You will hear it from the boy yourself. Just stay connected. I'm coming back again.
Despite being widely understood to be an illegitimate president who had no chance of winning the tribunal if he didn't use presidential power to try and scatter it, what that would mean is that he's not going to be able to run a government in any appreciable sense.
Why do you say so? Why?
So I was at Chatham House yesterday. Okay. I had a private session with the head of the Sierra Leonean opposition party. Funny, ironically enough, the Sierra Leonean opposition party is called the APC, the All People's Congress. Okay. That's what it's called in Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
So the head of the opposition, Dr. Sumaila Kamara, we had a session with him yesterday at Chatham House, and there was something he said that stuck in my mind. He said that as a leader, and he made this comment in reference to the current president, Julius Maada Bio in Sierra Leone. And he said the reason Julius Maada Bio has failed as president of Sierra Leone is not necessarily because he's a bad person, or it's not necessarily because he had bad intentions of coming to office, but it's because when he came into office, he came with the mindset of discrediting his predecessor and fighting everybody. So when you come into office with the sole aim of showing everybody that it is you that has power now, and you have won. You've been trying to get this office for years, and now you have won. Now it's your turn. So everybody that came before you has to suffer. So you now leave the business of governance to start playing
revenge politics.
Yes, revenge politics and games. You start probing everything probable. You start, playing all these games. The truth is that time is going by. The country is not moving forward.
Of course.
You're wasting everybody's energy on your personal vendetta. And eventually 4 years, 5 years have passed. The country is worse off than when you took it, and then you start looking for scapegoats. So drawing from that, what Tinubu is going to find out is if he's actually sworn in. First of all, assuming his health will even permit him to even assume that presidency, which is a very big if, right? Even assuming that is the case, he's going to realize very quickly that in order to govern a country like Nigeria, it's not enough to just have the stick in your hand that tells you that you are president and GCFR. Being the leader of Nigeria, a country as big as Nigeria, because I don't think they appreciate just how big Nigeria is. Nigeria is not Lagos. Nigeria is not the Southwest.
It's a lot.
Nigeria is a country which is so big that it cannot functionally police its own borders.
Exactly. True.
Nigeria is a country that is so big that we don't know how many Nigerians exist.
True.
We last had something approaching a census. It wasn't credible, but something like a census in 2006.
It's a long time ago.
17 years ago. Nigeria is a country that is so big. I think of all the countries in the world, including China and India, we have the third largest concentration of languages. 500 and something languages. Choked into 900 and something thousand square kilometers of land. When you want to lead a country that is that diverse, that is that contradictory, that is that divided, what you need more than anything else is broad consensus.
But right? Isn't that assuming that that's what he wants to do?
Well,
they don't care.
But the problem is that whether you care or you don't care. So using Buhari as an example, even though people often, and I always used to say that Buhari came and had no intention of unifying the country. He was just a bigot. But the truth is that even Buhari had some sort of broad-based appeal. In the first place, that election in 2015, Buhari actually won it. He actually won the election legitimately.
Of course he did,
He actually did. And I always use my peer group as a barometer of public opinion. And I could tell, even though I supported Jonathan in 2015, my entire peer group was openly supporting this man, whom they had nothing in common with. They had nothing in common with him religiously, ethnically, intellectually. They had like chalk and cheese, you understand? But everyone supported Buhari in 2015. Like, I think personally that they all made a mistake, but the truth is that they all supported him in 2015. So when he came in 2015, regardless of whatever intentions he had, there was at least a certain amount of goodwill that came with him. There was at least a honeymoon period that people allowed him for like 6 months. Don't criticize this guy yet. Let's see what he wants to do. Even though from like the first week, I could tell that this person is going to be a disaster. In the case of Tinubu, from the day before day zero, everybody already knows, first of all, you did not win that election. Right? You played whatever games you were able to play in the background, and you got them to declare you at 4 a.m. as the winner of an election that you categorically did not win. Everybody knows this. Right? You even lost in Lagos, for goodness sake. Like, Lagos, which is your crown jewel, and the place where your rigging machinery is at its strongest. The way you were beaten in Lagos was so impossible to hide that even according to official figures that you allowed them to put out, you lost Lagos. So you cannot tell me that you won an election and everybody knows he did not win that election. So number one, there's that lack of goodwill, because everybody knows this is an illegitimate president. You stole that result. You did not win it. Those 8 million votes you said you did not get 8 million votes. Nobody gave you that 8 million votes. First of all. Secondly, the and this is a follow-on from the first point. That lack of goodwill means that the only other way for you to functionally be able to create a government is for there to be enough elite consensus from around the country for people to be able to at least get over their grievances and hold their noses and deal with you. Remember in the car on the way here, I mentioned Obasanjo in 2003. That it's believed that Obasanjo did not win that election in 2003. However, you know, the Maurice Iwu iteration of INEC at the time did what it did. A result was announced, and that was that. Regardless of whether Obasanjo won that election or not, the fact is that just by virtue of being the person that he was, Obasanjo was able to inspire enough elite consensus from around the country that even the places where they did not vote for him and they feel like he did not win the election, their elites there were still able to pacify those people and say, you know what, let's chill for another 4 years. Let's work with this guy. Tinubu does not have that skill set. Tinubu is not a diplomat. Tinubu is not a statesman. Tinubu does not. All Tinubu knows is the rules of the streets. And the rules of the streets, I would recommend anybody watching this to go watch the movie Gangs of Lagos. Because as I said when I watched it, that wasn't a movie, that was a documentary. If you want to understand Nigerian politics, watch that movie. That was a documentary. Why I call it a documentary was it outlined the sort of the psyche behind politics in Nigeria. There is no wider thought of strategy. There is no wider desire to achieve something great. All of it is just mad scramble, you know, and money, to be the last man standing through any means necessary. So if I have to kill you, kill your family, and step on top of your head, and the only purpose of all of this is so that I can be the head nigger in charge. That's all, nothing more than that. Right, that is exactly how Tinubu is. Right, and I always say this whenever people say, "Oh, this man is a kind of like master strategist," he has political sagacity, and I always bust out laughing because this was someone who, I mean, my dad used to work with him, so as a child, I mean, I had access to these people, right? And you hear the way they talk, you hear the things they say. These people are so fundamentally limited. Intellectually, there is no the only reason why they are where they are is because of money and violence, nothing more.
But the thing is, money and violence is also part of strategy.
Well, here's the thing.
It doesn't need to be good. It doesn't need to be moral.
No matter how much money and violence you have from your base. I'm
not saying it's good though. My point is, it's still part of strategy as well.
No matter how much money and violence you have from your base in Lagos, it's not enough to conquer the whole of Nigeria. It's not enough. Buhari, as brutal as he was, did not rule Nigeria with just tyranny alone. It wasn't just violence alone or just bribing anybody. No. He still genuinely had a support base in many places. People, at least in the north, in many places, still genuinely loved him. Till now, I can tell you for a fact, if an election is held in Nigeria now and Buhari is on the ballot, Buhari will still win millions of votes till today. Because he actually had that organic support base.
Don't you think the Yoruba support Tinubu then? Don't you think they
No, I don't. I believe again, it boils down to money and violence. The supposed Yoruba support for Tinubu boils down to one of those two things. Either those who, you know, hilariously believe that they will be part of the chosen few, they will be part of his group, they will benefit something from him, or that someone close to him will benefit them, or the ones who basically have been sort of conditioned into thinking that somehow this is a fight against another ethnicity, and this is a fight to defend your ethnic pride, which still boils down to violence. So it's money and it's violence, and there's nothing else. There is no this is so the way Obafemi Awolowo inspired a following. The way I can sit I can sit down and read a book about Obafemi Awolowo. Right? If someone writes a book about Obafemi Awolowo, I will buy it and I will read it. Because even though I wasn't around when he was playing his politics, but you could say that the positive effects of the things that Obafemi Awolowo did.
Yeah, of course.
I experienced them in my own life.
Of course.
So my dad, for example, the reason he got to attend primary and secondary school was because of free education in the Western region. And the reason that is so significant is that Obafemi Awolowo was a Yoruba man. He could have tried to run his premiership of the Western region as a sort of Yoruba ethnic thing. He could have done that, and Badagry, which is not a Yoruba town, could have been marginalized. He didn't do that. So my dad, who grew up in Badagry, had access to the same things that a child growing up in Surulere or in Osogbo had. There was no. So in fact, I was telling someone earlier this month, that's part of the reason why our native language in Badagry is even dying, because most people have become acculturated into the Yoruba ethnicity. Not because they were forced, but because, what else would you do? Like, Obafemi Awolowo just made it so easy for you to assimilate into that ethnic group using a carrot instead of a stick. So if someone gives me a book to read about Obafemi Awolowo, I will sit down and read it because I'll know there's something worth taking away from that book. The probability that he makes it to December 2024 still breathing oxygen on this planet is about 0. So, good luck to him.
That's a powerful statement there. But the thing is, when it comes to Tinubu, and we talked about this again off air, when it comes to these guys, right, and we're talking about the last election now, I don't know if, and maybe you have more evidence and proof to this, right? I don't know if it will be, because there's a difference between saying the election was rigged. We all know the election was rigged. It's obvious. What we saw on social media, the violence, the rigging, what you saw in Solomon saying, what you saw happening even in Rivers State. For APC to win Rivers, it's like saying that APC won Anambra State. It's not possible. There is no planet Earth that APC wins Rivers State. It's not possible. So it's obvious that Wike put his hand on the scale for Tinubu, for APC. Obviously, he has beef against ATIKU, right? And so APC won Rivers, which there is no planet that APC can win Rivers States. PDP should have won Rivers, or even LP will agree. But for APC, no. So I agree with you, rigging happened. But did that rigging, was it to the extent or to the point that we can say authoritatively that this election was lost by Tinubu, and that the rigging was to the extent that P2B won the election and not Tinubu?
Well, yeah, and it's not just us saying it. There's actual data to prove it. So, and I'll explain what I mean by this. Now, prior to the election, what we were told, which I'm made to understand now wasn't true at all. What we were told was that there's this thing called the BVAS, and that what it does is that it accredits voters and then it uploads the result sheet, the EC8 form to the IREV server, and that the IREV, what is uploaded to the IREV server becomes the basis for the collation of results, becomes the basis for the results that are announced. And actually, that is not true at all. Now, actually, all the BVAS does is that it accredits voters and it uploads result sheets to the IREV portal. But that what is actually used to announce the results of the election are the EC20 sheets, which are compiled at the collation center. So the only business that the IRF has with the collation center is that the total number of accredited voters on every EC8 result sheet, according to the IRF, must tally with the total number of accredited voters that is recorded on the EC20.
Thank you for staying connected, my great and wonderful viewers. You can hear what this guy said very well in this very video. That was David HUNDEYIN talking in that very video, and it's well known that this guy is an investigative journalist. He narrated the ordain of Tinubu, even to the extent that he said his father, his own biological father, was in contact with Tinubu before. They were working together before, and whenever Tinubu have a conversation with his father, maybe in their house or Tinubu house or wherever the meeting point is, he said he used to listen to them as if he's eavesdropping and listening to the conversation of his father and Tinubu. So that is what he's saying. And he said a lot of people believe that Tinubu is a political guru, that is a man with a lot of political strategy. He said the answer is 0, that Tinubu is not a man of strategy, that what Tinubu is doing is what they practice in the Gang of Lagos. The movie that came out back then, the Nollywood movie, the Gang of Lagos. He said the way they were eliminating themselves, eliminating their family, or eliminating the family of another another person just to ensure that they become the last man standing in the hood. Because if you have not watched The Gang of Lagos, the guy even recommended that you should go and watch The Gang of Lagos to know the true person that Tinubu is. And a lot of politicians in Nigeria, is that what really happened in The Gang of Lagos is what Nigerian politicians are practicing. And they said the way they are eliminating themselves in The Gang of Lagos, the way they eliminated themselves in the movie just to become the last man standing in the hood, he said that's the same thing that Tinubu is doing. That Tinubu is not a man of strategy, that they just eliminate people, buy people, and that is how they become the last man standing and they become the Jagaban and all of that. That was David Hundeyin saying everything in this video. I don't know, maybe you have a personal vendetta with Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I don't really know, because it is this same guy that worked and he investigated how Tinubu forged a certificate that intended to INEC Biden. You know, the saga came out the moment after Tinubu was announced as the president of Nigeria. We know that someone came out that investigated and leaked the fact that Tinubu's certificate of Chicago is forged and all of that. The saga came out that the certificate of Tinubu that intended to INEC, the Chicago state certificate, it was forged and all of that allegedly. Now the person that investigated, the person that brought everything out was this guy David Hundeyin that was talking in this very video. This guy had been on Tinubu. He had been on the fact that Tinubu should not become the president of Nigeria. He had been on the fact that Tinubu cannot rule Nigeria. He had been on the fact that Tinubu is a drug lord, and he had been on the fact that Tinubu is an illegitimate president. So this guy had been all over it, doing everything possible just to bring Tinubu down. So he's the one saying it now in this very video that his father have a close collaboration with Tinubu. So it is only Tinubu, he and his father that can only attest to that fact. Nobody can attest to it. And he didn't stop there. He called Tinubu a murderer. That what Tinubu do to get into higher position, what Tinubu do that made them to call him Jagaban, is the fact that he practiced what they did in the Gang of Lagos. He said that Gang of Lagos is not a movie, that it is a documentary. It's a documentary about what Tinubu is doing and all of that. That if you want to know the true identity of Tinubu, the true kind of person that Tinubu is, you need to go and watch the Gang of Lagos. So he said all these things happened when he was small as a child. That was when his father was having collaboration with Tinubu. Now he have grown up. I don't know, maybe that is the reason why he's now doing everything possible to unveil all the things that Tinubu is doing. This guy did not stop. He's doing everything possible to make sure that he brings Tinubu down. He's the only one that unveiled the fact that Tinubu is a drug lord and his drug case in US and all of that. And he's even the one that made it known to the general public that the certificate of Tinubu carries the name of a woman in Chicago State University, that the certificate of Tinubu is not carrying the name of a man, and Tinubu we know here is a man and all of that. A lot of people think then that the guy is actually working for ATIKU Abubakar, but he never worked for ATIKU Abubakar. According to him, he said he have never seen ATIKU Abubakar before. All he knows is that Tinubu is an illegitimate president and all of that. And you can even hear him in this video and saying that the Tinubu that sits on the presidency of Nigeria cannot last in December 2024. That was what he said in this very video. He said Tinubu cannot last on that seat till December 24. This is not my personal opinion. You can date back to the video. You will hear David Hundeyin saying it again. He said Tinubu cannot last in December 24. He said that based on the health status of Tinubu. So a lot of people are out there waiting for December 24. Maybe Tinubu will really last or all of that. A lot of people are praying that Tinubu will last longer than December 24 and all of that. So a lot of things is happening in this country and things are really happening. If you think that a child did not know what you're doing to him or her on his childhood days, is a big lie. Even a 3-year-old or 4-year-old child, whatever you do in the eyes of the child can easily copy and it will stick to the memory of the child because the memory of that child is still very fresh. So that is what is happening. What David Hundeyin said, if it's really accurate and sure on what he said, that shows that the memory is very strong and all of that. Now drop a opinion in the comment section on this video. What do you think regarding what this guy said, the tape that he released based on this interview? What do you think regarding what he said? As I'm gonna dedicate and that one for you, ensure you follow me on my social media handles on Facebook at LAJUPOG TV and LAJUPOG Entertainment, and on Instagram at LAJUPOG. Ensure you share the video to your loved ones and do it to like the video. Guess what, guys? See you in my next video. Bye.
I see the hot for my body, I say make I yarn you. Religious gossip plenty day for body. Pastor where they lie on top, be pastor. For LAJUPOG Watch TV. Pastor where they back, where politicians where they do pass himself. Corrupt leader, all the while you waiting for church. All as LAJUPOG Watch TV.